A custom brain implant has successfully treated a woman's severe depression by targeting and changing patterns of brain activity linked to symptoms of depression. So for more, it's a great story. We're joined by CTV's science and technology specialist, Dan Riskin, for another edition of This Week in Science. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Isn't this exciting?
You and I are both smiling, and I don't know if anybody has known anyone who has lived with depression, but something like this offers such incredible hope. First of all, explain for everybody how it works.
Yeah, so I mean, 30% of severe depression cases just don't respond to traditional medications. And this has been a bit of a holy grail for brain science. Imagine if we could go in there and just tinker and somehow change a person's brain activity so that it was doing something that made them happier. And so here you have a patient, a woman named Sarah, who has had severe depression for years. And so she was a good candidate for this. They basically put something into her brain that measures activity to try to get a bespoke, just for her, indication of when she needs a little jolt. And then it gives her that jolt in a different part of her brain, so that when her brain, a part called the amygdala, is showing a pattern that is associated with a depressive episode, she gets a little jolt in a different part of the brain that changes the pattern and sends her into a different sort of direction. And first they had a temporary piece, and when they first tried it, she said that she could feel the depressive episode coming on, and then all of a sudden she felt this joy, and she laughed out loud for the first time in years. And so the trial with the temporary device worked so well that now she has a permanent device. She's had it in for over a year. It's zapping her brain without her knowing it more than 300 times a day. And she says her life is just getting better and better and better. And so for her, it's like an invisible force that's working for good. And it's really just a miracle of modern science.
It really is an incredible story. And there's still so much being done in this specific area of science. Deep brain stimulation has helped treat other brain disorders. We know Parkinson's and epilepsy. How is the stimulation being used on Sarah different?
Yeah, well, this is interesting because it is listening to Sarah's brain and responding to when it thinks it needs to step in. And so there's a lot of machine learning that went into this, where it pays attention and it recognizes certain kinds of electrical patterns happening, broad scale patterns. And when it sees those patterns, it makes a little adjustment. But if you look at the history of deep brain stimulation, for a long time, we've known that for things like epilepsy, Parkinson's, and other diseases, that zapping the brain with like 200 milliamps can make a big difference. This is just giving 1 milliamp at just the right time. So it really is a very, very gentle nudge. And for neuroscientists, it's a little bit like thinking of a weather pattern. You know, we just came out of the weather news with you guys, and you can see these cycles that set up, and you can see what's coming a couple days out because these patterns develop. But if you can nudge things, you can get a different pattern to develop that's predictable. And so that's what this is like. Instead of sort of grabbing a hold of all the neurons and trying to tell them which way to fire, it's about a gentle nudge that pushes things in a better direction. And for Sarah, this is giving her the first taste of a cure that she's ever had. And this is just really a miracle for her.
People watching this and are feeling hopeful when they hear this story. What challenges, though, do researchers face before this kind of device can be widely available for people struggling?
I think, well, I mean, I think optimism wins the day here. If you want to be a pessimist, you can say, well, one person. But come on, I mean, they only put one person on the moon, and that counted. So, you know, we're getting there. This is a technology that has been talked about in science communication circles for a couple of years now as this, like, we might, if we're really lucky, have this work. And lo and behold, it is working. So this is really a huge step forward. Right now, they're looking at how the device has been handled by the brain over the course of a year. And what's really great to see is that the brain hasn't sort of overpowered it or learned how to work around it to continue those depressive episodes. It seems like the brain really is working in concert with the device to give Sarah a better life. And so I think there's a lot of hope for optimism, but the realistic picture is it's very expensive, it's bespoke, so it has to work for exactly that brain, but the technology is there for it to learn about the brain that it's in and start to come up with solutions. So it may not work for everyone, but the fact that it worked for one person, I think, is just absolutely wonderful news.
Absolutely life-changing. Dan Riskin, always good to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
All right.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.